Welcome everyone to another episode of Alpha Access EverQuest Landmark. In today's episode I'll be covering how to use simple shapes and micro voxels to create complex patterns and designs that are just not possible with the default voxel sized building tools. So let's jump right in and check it out. So if we take a look at my wall here, I've gone ahead and made some very simple shapes using the smallest voxel size available with the Add tool. I've got some sort of S-shape looking design here. It's looking a little bit like a G, a little bit of a U, which of course you can copy and paste and rotate and scale. So once I constructed this very basic design, I went ahead and smoothed out the entire design until I got some nice curves like this. And then I simply took that, copy and pasted it, and then extruded it. So we had some nice depth to it. I'll quickly show you guys how that was done. Okay, so what I've gone ahead and done is made a quick little base here on the floor. Basically what I want to do is build up above it because we're going to have to smooth this out, and I want to have enough height here to be able to do that one voxel buffer to smooth things out. So once I had this little platform, I went ahead and started designing the shapes I wanted. We'll do a really simple U shape here, just so we can get the technique across. And we're just going to build this up. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and delete my little base. There we go. I'm going to come in here and make a selection around this new design. Make sure I have my one voxel buffer for the smoothing. There we go. And I'm going to go in and smooth this guy quite a bit. I found somewhere between 8 and 10 you get a pretty decent arch out of this. But of course you don't have to. You can go as sharp or as smooth as you'd like to. I'm just going to smooth this out a bunch of times. There we go. That looks pretty good. And you can see it smoothed it out not only in X and Y, it also did it in Z, so it becomes really, really thin. So now what we want to do is make a selection for this. And that looks pretty good. And we're just going to copy and paste. And here comes the tricky part of just trying to line this up. There we go. So we're just going to click. And there you go. And it starts to extrude the shape, and now we've got this nice design that we can select, copy and paste. We can template it if we really want to. So that's basically how I made these designs. Just starting with really simple shapes, using the smallest voxel, building something up that you like, then using your selection tool and making sure you have the one voxel depth for smoothing. Smoothing it out, making another selection of that new design, copy and pasting it right in front or behind to give it some nice depth. Okay, next up I'd like to show you guys what they're, at least for now, calling pips. Basically what a pip is one voxel that has been smoothed down to where it's a really, really, really tiny square. If you can see it here. The designs over here I've made all with one pip. I can show you how to do that, and you can see how the engine tries to weld these really, really tiny voxels, these micro voxels. And sometimes the results can be random, but for the most part it does do a pretty good job. When you start trying to construct and craft things that are really, really tiny, really small, and have intricate detail, you can get some pretty cool designs. So let's take a look at how I did this. So the technique was I basically came in with one voxel, and I'll build something up here. I'll come back with my selection tool, get rid of everything else. There we go. The idea being is you're going to take this one voxel and you're going to smooth it out until it's super tiny. And there is a bit of a magic number that Dave Jorgensen let us know about in the live stream the other day. And I'll show you guys that real quick. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make sure I've got that one voxel buffer around this cube. Alright, that looks good. So I'm going to go ahead and smooth this guy. I believe the magic number was 8 times. You want to smooth this 8 times. And that was, so far, what seems to be the best results for how the engine handles these super, super tiny little pips. These really, really tiny micro voxels. So go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hopefully you guys can see that, but that is a super, super tiny voxel. So once you've smoothed that out, back in here with your selection tool. And we're going to click on it. I'm just going to go Control C and Control V. I've got my translate tool going, so I'm just going to translate this up, and I'm going to click once. Now what you don't want to do here is move your mouse around, because that's going to move your camera, and that's going to be extremely difficult and a little bit annoying. So what you want to do is try to keep your camera as steady as possible, and just move these move tools by hitting Tab or Shift Tab to change from rotate to translate. Pretty much you don't need rotate, all you need to really worry about is to translate. So to get the design I showed you earlier on my wall, all I did was come over here and go 1, 2 splices out, and then just click. Then I changed to the up and down. I went 1, 2, down again, change to the another direction tool, and go over 1, 2. Now you can see we've got the 4 pips basically lined up like a square. So I'm going to go this time into the middle. I'm going to go over 1. I'm going to go up 1. And if we click, you can see the engine trying to weld those 5 points together, and you get a pretty cool design. Taking that even further, you could come out here and go up another 2, make another micro voxel, go out another 2, and then we'll come down another 2, and we'll come in 1, and then up 1. Now we've got something that's pretty clean. We're starting to get something that's starting to look pretty cool. So I'm going to do that same technique. I'm going to go down 2. We've already got that pip there. So I'm going to go back over 1 and then up 1 more. Click 1 more time. Now you can see this design. You can see how the engine tries to calculate and heal and basically meld all those points together. And you start getting some really cool looks. And it's not the most exact design, but you can see what you start getting with this. I'm going to come in with my selection tool. And I'm going to select this entire guy here. I'm not going to be smoothing this anymore, so making sure the selection is snug up against the edges is good. And I'm just going to hit Control C, Control V. And this is where the tricky part comes in with trying to make sure that you're exactly where you want it. And then we're just going to rotate it so we can get a nice clear picture template here instead of the squares that we just saw. And go back to the translate tool. There we go, that looks lined up, and I'm just going to go in Z. And even though it doesn't look like it's completely snug up against it, once you click, it welds those points in between. So I'm going to go out a little bit further, and there we go. I've now got this intricate little design that you cannot get with just the default voxel size. Basically, we're stuck with these default cube sizes. When you start smoothing them out and you start coming up with these combinations, you can really start getting some really cool looking stuff. And that's basically how I did this over here. Those 5 points, and I just started building down. This almost looks like some sort of wine cabinet. And I started messing around with some other designs. I had basically all these pips right in a row. I can show you that too real quick. I'm going to come back here. So if you want to make a ladder or something like that, Control C, Control V. And let's move this up. Move this over and a little bit closer to me so you guys can see it. I'm going to click once, Tab, so I can move over. If I just go over 1 more, you can see how it welds those points together. You can start making some really thin bars. For whatever reason, if you want to start making a ladder of some kind. Then you can see here as well, if you immediately click down, it tries to meld, so you start getting these nice strange angles that sometimes look pretty cool. If I click again and again, it starts going down to what just looks like a really small rectangle. But if you come up and click over a point that's already been there, it cleans it up. So you get that nice right angle again. I'm going to go ahead and finish this off. It's going to click, and looks like it's adding that angle, but I don't want that angle. So I'm going to click again, and there we go. Cleans it up, makes a nice right angle. And we've got the beginnings of, who knows, picture frame, whatever. I'm going to go up, I'm going to go back down and clean that up. Click. There we go, let's clean these edges up. Alright, there we go. I mean, this could be whatever. Now we can go in and select this guy. And it can be a little bit difficult working with these micro voxels in the selection and just being able to see them. So it definitely takes a little bit of patience. Once you've done some experimenting though, I mean, the stuff you can make with this is really cool. Instead of sort of these default fantasy looking things, you can start making things that look very mechanical, a little high tech even. I'm going to copy and paste this guy. And then I'm going to try to line it up as best I can. Let's see here. I think we need to go down. That looks pretty close. There it is. And there you go. Once again, you cannot do this type of thing with just the default add tool and that default voxel size. And if I really wanted to, I can come in and smooth this entire thing. Actually, I wonder what that would look like. Yeah, it's fine. I'm not going to use the one voxel buffer. I'm just going to go ahead and smooth and see what we get. That's pretty cool. Okay, folks, that'll do it for this episode. Basically just wanted to touch a little bit here on how you can smooth some default shapes out and get some pretty intricate designs, and take that even a step further and start using these pips and micro voxels to really construct something that's really intricate and really cool looking. And again, this was found by the community. From the live stream they mentioned the other day, this was found out by players like you and me who are just experimenting and having fun. Alright folks, that'll do it for this episode. If you enjoy the content, feel free to subscribe. If you've got any questions, feel free to leave a comment. I'll be happy to get back to you. And until next time, take care everybody.